We are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lab Doctors podcast. So today we're going to be talking about
Sedentary behavior versus physical inactivity.
Yeah.
I had this idea because I was talking to a friend and I was telling them about how sedentary I was during the weekends because I would just sit down and game the entire day. And he was like telling me, oh yeah, he's more or less the same. Like if he doesn't need to move, he'll just sit down. But then he thinks it's okay because he goes for a run at least. And so I guess my question to y'all would be, what do y'all think is sedentary behavior? Like what even is sedentary behavior?
not moving, I guess.
Not moving.
As in, yeah, so just lazing around all day.
Not expending much energy.
Great. I'm going to go into a bit of definitions because I think for these type of studies, they kind of mix up the terms because, I mean, based on my undergrad knowledge, I know that actually physical inactivity and sedentary behavior are actually not the same thing.
Oh,
And so first, I need to talk about what is resting energy expenditure. So how they do all these studies is based on, it's normalized to your own person. So how much energy do you expend when you are at rest? And that is considered like one metabolic equivalent of task. Yeah. So
1 ME.
1 MET. So like depending on the task that they are doing, then they will normalize it to that. So for sedentary behavior, they typically normalize it to sitting because that's how most studies are conducted. But for definition's sake, sedentary behavior is any waking behavior characterized by an energy expenditure of less than 1.5 MET or METs. I actually don't know what's the norm, like how do people say METs?
I would go with MET.
I
we
like
will
METs,
say Met
actually.
in this episode.
MET and METs.
Yeah. So I like MET. So less than 1.5 MET while in a sitting, reclining or lying posture. So basically just anything that's not standing or walking or
Yeah.
anything that's active.
Yeah.
Yeah. While physical inactivity represents the non-achievement of physical activity guidelines.
There's guidelines.
So what is physical activity? So physical activity is any body movement generated by the contraction of skeletal muscles that raises energy expenditure above resting metabolic rate. So
Anything above 1.0?
yeah.
Okay.
And it is characterized by its modality, frequency, intensity, duration, and context of practice. I've no idea what it means.
There's a lot of definition.
So physical activity can be me like standing up or walking. So is sedentary behavior actually that detrimental? What do y'all think?
Yes.
Yes, like if you talk about, since you stated the definition, then super yes.
Okay, yeah. So according to a meta-analysis conducted by researchers from the University of Sydney, basically mortality rate is increased by 2% for every seated hour.
Oh shit.
So
Wait, so if I sleep the whole day, which is lying down, right, which is one of it, right?
yeah, you're increasing your mortality rate.
But they say sleep is good. It helps you grow taller. It helps your body recover.
Of course, I feel like we all definitely need some basal level of sleep.
Yeah.
Go listen to our
yes,
sleep
yes.
episode. But too much sleep is also not good.
Yeah.
But it's also the same as like too much sitting down is also not good.
Too much exercise is also not good.
Actually, too much of anything is not good.
Yeah, everything in moderation.
Fair point.
That's it. So this 2% is the minimum and it reaches a peak of 8% per hour if one remains seated for more than 8 hours consecutively.
Is it 8% higher chance of dying? Of what?
8% per hour higher mortality rate. So that means that your mortality rate can be 64% or greater than an individual who's not sedentary.
So that cumulative sitting down also
Yes.
matters.
It's cumulative. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like, if I sit down for 8 hours per day, I'm 64% more likely to die.
It's like if you just sit down for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
But you can actually sit down for 8 hours but stand up every hour and you might not.
But
face the
that's
same.
going into how do we break up sedentary behavior, which I'll go into.
Okay.
Yeah, so the important point here is that it's consecutive, but it's also like over a study period. So that doesn't mean that if I sit down for more than 8 hours a day, I'm gonna die.
Because 64% is damn high. It's like, I'm going to die tomorrow.
Yeah. This study was like over a lifetime kind of thing.
I would assume so if they have mortality data.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
So how serious is this issue? So I have two populations. These are the two that I found more easily. But like the first population is the working population in France, where on average people tend to spend more than 10 hours sitting per day. So that's like
10?
But not consecutive.
Not consecutive. It's just on average it's like about 10
okay.
hours.
Like an office worker, yeah, I can imagine. And then you go home, you eat dinner, you watch TV.
Exactly. And they spend about like 4 hours sitting at work. So that means they spend like 6 hours sitting at home. And that's excluding sleep. Yeah.
What? They have so much time at home?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's
Every time I
weird,
go
right?
home, it's like 4 hours later, I need to sleep. Eh?
Yeah, I have no idea like what these people are like living, but okay.
Shiok life.
That's it. They also spend about 7.5 hours sitting on non-work days. So public holidays, weekends, they actually spend like 7 hours sitting also.
That's less.
It's less, but it's also not very good. That means like you're spending only 3 hours more not sedentary.
And so they're spending 1.5 hours more sitting at home, and then the rest of the time they are going out.
At least they are more active than versus work, but you know, that's still kind of sad to
But
me.
I feel like, do I sit for 10 hours a day? I mean, okay, so our lives are slightly different from office workers.
Correct.
Because we walk a lot in the lab, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, is 4 hours a lot? Sometimes I feel like I sit at my computer for hours, for like 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would reach 4 hours so easily. So how are office workers?
Oh, but that's the French population.
Are they
So for more
getting
local,
coffee breaks? Toilet breaks?
No, but this is on average. So this is not just office workers. So this includes like most forms of like work. So it's like also like probably stuff that requires more active, like maybe us or like construction.
Service industry.
Yeah,
F&B.
service industry.
Yeah.
So actually the numbers are a bit skewed depending on how much of your working populace actually works in, you know, kind of office setting.
Yeah.
So in Singapore,
Oh yes, let's hear it.
I was like hoping you get the Singapore.
yeah, for a more local context. So they didn't really separate work days from non-work days, but
Because we work every day. Nah, jokes. I mean, some people do, but
yeah.
sucks to be you.
Okay, the median sitting hours was 6 hours
Per day.
per day. So they didn't really separate like, you
That's
know,
2 hours.
at work or at home. So that's actually less than the French
That's less.
population, which is great.
Wait,
The
6
French
hours
population
of
is
sitting?
10 hours.
Yeah, per day.
Oh yeah, because we don't have so much time at home. Honestly.
Okay, but around 37% of Singaporeans sat at least 8 hours per day, which is categorized as like high levels of sedentary behavior. So 37% meaning probably the population that actually sits in like an office setting. And also sedentary behavior was highest in participants aged 18 to 29. So basically our age group.
I'm at the top tier. Not tomorrow, next year, I'll be out of it.
Congrats, Amanda. So
Wow.
I'll cut that out.
No, put
It's
it
okay.
in.
I've accepted my fate.
So that's sedentary behavior. So I think Amanda already kind of gave preambles to like, oh, you can break it up by standing. So do you think instead of a permanent sitting position, I have a permanent standing position? Is that better or worse?
For sure better, because most people don't think of like sitting and standing as very different, but actually standing takes a lot more energy than sitting.
I think standing takes a lot more energy.
Oh yeah. And even like because posture takes energy as well. So I think good posture would be something that people have to take note of as well when you're standing.
Yeah, I'm always so tired and then my back hurts when I'm standing. But then again, when I sit too long, my back hurts too.
Actually, standing is better for your back than sitting. Because sitting, all your weight is on your tailbone.
I think it depends on the chair also, right? Like some...
Yeah, whether or not there's
But
like
you know, like people
lumbar
who
support
have
or something.
like back surgery or like, you know, if they have scoliosis or whatever, sitting is very, very bad for them. But standing is fine. Yeah, okay. But
Anyway, contrary to popular belief, so standing workstations have actually been proposed because, like what Amanda mentioned, it actually increases our energy expenditure. So passive standing actually corresponds to around 2 METs, and that's actually considered low physical activity. Which is great because that means it's higher than that 1.5 METs, right? That threshold. However, a study from a Swiss research group from the University of, sorry if I butcher this, Freiburg, Fribourg, they observed the rise in heart rate and energy expenditure from standing is actually not from the act of passively standing, but the transition from sitting to standing.
oh, okay. Interesting. So
that
you
make sense?
should
You should do
alternate.
Yeah, you should do squats.
Which is exercise already.
Yeah. So it actually kind of explains why regular sitting breaks, meaning like, let's say if I stand up and walk for about like 2 minutes every 20 minutes, which actually sounds like a lot to me. And I'm like, every 20 minutes, I can't get much work done in 20 minutes. And if I need to take a break every 20 minutes, yeah, that's not going to be very particularly productive, but okay. Regular sitting breaks are actually more beneficial for cardio-metabolic health compared to permanent passive standing. Yeah. So if you're looking to break up that sedentary behavior, it is more about that standing up in regular intervals versus just standing or just sitting.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. And I also do it like once every hour, and I don't know whether or not that's good, but okay.
I think it's similar to like, you know, when they say you use the computer so long, you should look out.
Yeah.
But it's not like you should look out all the time. It's just look out for a few minutes and then come back to your comm. So it's like this kind of intervals thing.
Yeah, so it's the same as your visual breaks. So whenever you're taking your visual breaks, just stand up.
Do you take visual breaks when you game?
When I game, yes.
Oh, that's good.
Because more recently, I think it's aging. My eyes get tired.
You need to get a blue light filter.
Are you not blinking?
I don't know if I'm not blinking.
Maybe.
Sometimes I forget to blink. It's quite bad.
Intense.
And then I'll get headaches if I don't blink. So physical activity and sedentary behavior are actually not opposites. So contrary to popular belief, I think I already kind of alluded to that. For people who believe that physical activity can actually kind of cancel out the effects of sedentary behavior, sadly you're not. Oh, actually you are correct, kinda, but it's only eliminated in the study group with the highest moderate to vigorous physical activity. Basically they did more than 35.5 met per hour per week. Of activity, and that means that it is 4 to 5 times the WHO recommended amount of physical activity per week. Basically, if you're an athlete and you train like every single day, go ahead and sit down because
you deserve it.
You're good. But I think that more or less comes from like the fact that I actually exercise a lot and have less time sitting down versus like...
I think so. Or you've already expended the energy so you can take this break, you know?
But for the average person that don't exercise like every single day of the week...
Is it every single day? I thought it's...
The intensity.
So it's 4 to 5 times more the WHO physical activity recommendation, which is 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic physical activity throughout the week. So 150 minutes altogether. So 4 to 5 times of that.
That's a lot.
5 times 30 minutes.
And if you do 5 times of that, it's 150 minutes per day.
It has to be 5 times of that?
No, 4 to 5.
4 to 5 times of 150 minutes per week. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think...
Let me just die. 64% is fine.
No, just stand up every 20 minutes.
Yeah, just stand up. That's what you can do.
So that's the easy way out, you know? Like,
just get a research job, you will stand up every 20 minutes.
Or like,
is it worth it?
Break it up, you know?
But I'm kind of glad I'm not in an office job because I will feel like a blob sometimes, like just sitting there so long. And some people say like they work in the office job and then they start getting fats at the
waist, the love handle area.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm having that now. I can feel it. I can grab it.
Too much info.
But also, we have recorded for 20 minutes, so we should stand up.
Okay, let's stand up.
Wait, so it's just the act of standing up, right?
Squat.
I know you have to squat because you have to reach the mic. Okay, this works out, Someone please tell us every time we reach 20 minutes and then...
Yeah, so actually that's all I have for this week. Do y'all have any thoughts or anything that y'all want to talk about based on sedentary behavior and physical activity?
There's that Pomodoro technique where you're supposed to work for 25 minutes and then stop for 5 minutes and then work for 25 minutes. I think the problem is, for me, is that sometimes I can sit for an hour, but doesn't mean I'm doing work for an hour. So maybe I should break up my tasks.
No, but what are you sitting for? Are you sitting and doing nothing, or are you sitting and using a phone and using a brain?
No, I didn't say that those activities cancelled out sedentary behavior. It just raised energy expenditure.
It's not as sedentary.
So I was thinking, like, would that be a good I mean, okay, 20 minutes. I mean, as much as I can, but it's better that I do the 25-5 thing than not do it at all, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a few layers of benefit. Like, so there's it keeps you on task for the 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you stand up and sit down after 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then also it rests your eyes. So I feel like that's something that maybe people in the office can use as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll try it.
I don't know about y'all, but like, okay, so even because now I feel like a standing desk at home. So like,
Oh, really?
Is it the one you can adjust the height?
yeah, the manual one where you have to crank it. So I feel like
Because you're not high sis.
Yeah, I'm not high. I feel like that in itself is kind of physical activity.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it is.
But also, the reason why I got it is also because like I feel like when I sit down for very long, my legs get very tired, and I don't know if it's aging again.
Yeah.
But like I can't do it as much as I was when I was
I feel like
younger.
the
I
blood
have to
cannot
stand.
flow well to my feet.
Yeah, exactly.
My
And,
legs.
and so I have to break it up. But I don't know if that's like normal, or do people feel it, or do they just not care?
I think it's aging.
Is it?
I feel it too or like the wrong chair, the chair's not good and the office chairs are terrible. So
Yeah.
my legs just feel bad and my back just feels bad.
Yeah, and then I have to stand.
Yeah, stand or stretch.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like my hack would be like, just stand and then just look out the window and then also drink water. Then you're like clearing 3 things.
Oh yeah, the drink water thing, because if you drink enough water, you would have to stand up and go pee as well. Yeah, so you're staying hydrated and also an excuse to keep walking.
Yeah, but I guess my question is, do you think our officers are what's that word?
Progressive.
Yeah, progressive enough to be like, you can stand and walk around if you want to, or is it like, no, you must sit down?
I think given that we're in a lab setting, no one's going to say like, why are you standing up?
Yeah.
But if it's a complete office, everyone's desk bound, right? Then it's very weird.
And I feel like it's very pressuring also, because like if someone is seated supposedly doing their work the entire day, versus like you who is like, intermittently standing up, intermittently walking around, you kind of look like a slacker. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just so sad, because if I'm doing it for my health, I'm like, and I'm still clearing my work, why is that a bad thing?
Yeah. I think the adjustable tables will be good, because sometimes like if you sit too long, I feel like I want to sleep also. So if you let me stand up and do my work at the same time, I think it's a bit better than sitting down all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing. Like most officers don't provide these type of desks.
Yeah, because
or like
it's expensive.
desk-based modifications.
So then about sleeping, right? If I'm sleeping so much, is it very bad? It's too sedentary.
It's still considered sedentary. Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like it's worse.
Because I sleep a lot. I can sleep like 14 hours a day.
A day?
No, as in like,
On the weekend,
Oh my god, I was like, how do you have that?
if you can like do that for a week, will you be able to sleep 14 hours per day per week?
Maybe 12, maybe 10.
But maybe that's just something
Every
your body
day?
needs. You know, like you need
Yeah.
more sleep in general.
Yeah, so it has to normalize to myself.
yourself,
Like
yeah.
if I'm a person who sleeps 10 hours every day, I should sleep 10 hours every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't cut your sleep because you think it's sedentary. Yeah.
But the issue is, are you active for the hours that you're awake? I think is the issue. It's not just how much you sleep. Because some people could sleep maybe 6 hours or 7 hours, but they sit the whole day. So then there's no point. It's better. It would still be better if you sleep 10 hours a day, but you are active the rest of the day.
Yeah.
In this case,
Yeah,
in this sedentary
Or rather-
context.
That rather that you're not sedentary, because physical activity is different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think I'm not active all the days. On the weekend.
Therein lies the issue.
But-
not your sleeping hours.
We are researchers, so we walk a lot in the lab. And I
Yeah.
think that's great.
I feel like I clock 10k steps per day.
But it doesn't cancel out, you were saying. It doesn't cancel out, right?
So there's another study that maybe we can get into another episode
Part 2.
that I want to talk about. But like,
Stay tuned, I guess.
if you want to know more, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. A like and comment would really help us out. If you want to give us a rating, 5 stars is preferred, but do whatever you want.
You can also follow us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and feel free to DM us any questions.
Alternatively, you can email us at thelabdoctors@gmail.com. If you found this interesting or have any interesting topic that you want us to talk about, you can also reach out to us. Thank you.
Links in the description. Bye.
Bye.